Hello everyone, my name is Legend Ronnie and this game is Rise of Kingdoms, and welcome back to another free-to-play series video. Today I'm gonna help you out how to rally as free-to-play cities or objectives. I'm gonna guide you through it. I'm gonna tell you the builds, I'm gonna tell you the setups, and in the same time I'm also gonna show you the talents that you should use for that particular task. Because when you siege a city, it's slightly a little bit modified than the normal talents. Normal talents that you use them for field battles, obviously they work. It's not a problem with them, but you could get a little better slight edge with a little bit modified talent builds. So this is purely for free to play, because I'm just going to talk about epic commanders if you want to rally or siege objectives. You can do it even as a free to play, even if your castle is not maxed out, you have lower castle capacity, there's not going to be a problem. You can still do it. So I'm going to start with the first pair, which in theory it should be your tanking rally. Now if you want to take down a very strong objective, let's say you're in a kingdom, you have a well that is actually, bullying everyone, and you want to get rid of it, you have the chance to get rid of it if you want to. But there are steps, even as free to play, there are steps that you need to follow, and there are rallies that you need to follow. By the end of this video you're probably going to understand, and you will definitely going to have all the information you need if you want to take down a very strong player or an objective. Right, so the first pair is going to be infantry, and as I mentioned, this is basically made for tanking. You can use it for taking down the objective, but it's basically made for tanking. So the primary commander is going to be Sun Tzu, and the secondary is going to be Eulji. Now this is infantry. Infantry is usually made, for taking damage, for soaking up damage. You're also noticing that increase the troops damage reduction by 10% and increase the infantry health. After that you have Eulji, which also increase the defense of your infantry by another 15% with expertise, decrease the defense, and a lot of damage bonus. The synergy between them is very good and is very strong as long as Sun Tzu is the primary commander. Now this might sound crazy, but I can tell you that a full rally with Sun Tzu primary and Eulji secondary, even as free to play, can do devastating damage when you're rallying a city or when you're rallying an objective. Because let's face it, there's not T5, there's not enough T5 players in all the kingdoms, right? You're probably in a kingdom where there's a bunch of free to play players. Maybe you have legendary commanders. If you have legendary commanders, then that's good for you. But this is for free to play. Free to play don't actually have that many legendary commanders, or maybe one. Alright, so this is the infantry build that I have for Sun Tzu, and this is the same one that I would use for sieging a city. Now the reason you're probably gonna see the other builds, all the other builds, they're gonna have feral nature. This one doesn't need feral nature because Sun Tzu actually has a rage restoration with his primary skill, and that's gonna be good enough. You could, however, modify this talent build a little bit if you want to get feral nature, but you're gonna lose stats on your infantry, and that's not something I would like. You would lose around 2% attack and you will lose around 1% health. So you could drop 2, 4, 6, 9 and 10. So you can drop off all these talents. So 2% attack, 2%, 6% march speed, 6% march speed, 6% march speed, and 1% health. This is exactly 10 talent points, and you can do the full feral nature. And that's gonna be a lot of rage restoration, and that's gonna be a lot of nuke from Sun Tzu and Eulji as a secondary. But I mentioned that this is gonna be the tanking rally. So whenever you want to take a strong objective as free to play, one rally is definitely not gonna be enough. So if this is gonna be the tanking rally, then it means you're gonna have a second rally, which will be launch. And then you can choose between archers and cavalry. If you're gonna launch archers, I would suggest that you should go with Hermann primary and Osman secondary. Now if you're gonna hit a city, you're actually gonna have an extra bonus on your archers by 15% because Osman is a conquering commander. Plus there is a tremendous amount of nuke that will benefit you a lot in a rally. And you're probably wondering why I'm not saying Kusunoki, because Kusunoki is an archer commander, is actually boosting the archer's attack and defense, and it might just be quite a significant lot of nuke. The reason I'm not saying Kusunoki is because the rally situation are completely different. So for example, in a rally situation we have Kusunoki that has a lot of additional damage. Well, this is very less impactful in a rally than a single target, a large amount of nuke damage. So the damage factor of Kusunoki is not low, but it's spread among 3 turns, and that makes it low altogether, while Osman or Babers, for example, in a single nuke they have a lot of damage factor, and that's gonna be much more impactful, and the rally is gonna boost it even more, just because it's one nuke is not multiple or additional damage, which is not that great in a rally. On the field battles that's different, it's all damage, it's multiple target AoE, that's very helpful. But when you rally a city or an objective, it's completely different. So for that reason you need to put Hermann primary and Osman secondary. Now this is the talent build that I have on Hermann, and this is the talent build that I would suggest that you should use on Hermann as primary if you're going to rally a city, or this is going to be your second rally, the nuking rally that you want to send on the city or on your objective. Again, Hermann primary with Osman secondary. I'm gonna tell you the third build, and after I'm telling you the third build, I'm gonna explain you how you can launch multiple rallies on the same objective on the same time, so you can synchronize them, because obviously you need that help as well. Right, so the third build that I'm gonna go to is gonna be Babers primary with Osman secondary and full cavalry. This is something I should have mentioned from the first one. So if you go with Sanso primary and Eulji secondary, you need only infantry. If you go with Hermann primary and Osman secondary, you need only archers. And if you go with Babers primary and Osman secondary, you need only cavalry. Now the Hermann and Osman, or the Babers and Osman builds for rallies, you're probably wondering why I'm putting Osman on both of them. That's because this is gonna be the nuking rally, so this rally is not gonna take direct damage from the target. So as a off-side rally, if you want to call it like that, or a second rally or third rally, this rally will not take that much damage. So all you care about this rally is to inflict as much damage as possible on the target. On that point, you're probably gonna say, wouldn't Sansu primary and Scipio secondary would be more impactful? I would say not. I would say that boosting your actual infantry with a commander that actually boosts the infantry would be more impactful on the battlefield than just having a generic commander. And the benefits that you can get from Eulji to your infantry, not just the infantry specific skills but the other skills as well, I would say that is much more impactful, including the damage, including the resistance, and everything that this particular build can offer for your infantry. Now let's talk about the third build, which, as I mentioned, is going to be Babers primary and Osman secondary. Now the talent builds on Baber are slightly different than the ones I use for field battles. So this is my field battles talent tree. This is the talent tree that I use for field battles. Now you're probably noticing that there is a lot of march speed, because that's what you care on the field battles. There is a lot of march speed, including over here. Mobility is very essential on field battles, but when you rally an objective, is that actually that essential? Not so much. So for that particular reason, I have done a completely different build if you want to rally a city or if you want to rally an objective, and this is the build I have done. Obviously it's full cavalry, and you're probably wondering, well, if it's full cavalry, why there is so less talents on cavalry? Well, because most of them, you don't need them. This is not going to be the prime rally that is going to hit your target. You don't need march speed when your march is under 50%. You don't need march speed when you're rallying a city or an objective. You don't need that much march speed. Defense, this is going to be your nuking rally. You want to deal damage. Defense is going to be a little bit irrelevant for you. Plus, using Babers and Osman, none of them has a generating rage skill. So having feral nature might be something that you actually need for this particular build, so you can generate that rage as fast as possible, because this is your nuking rally. So you want to keep popping those skills as often as possible. So any additional rage that you can get is very helpful for this particular build. And you're noticing that I went for the attack. I try to get as much attack as possible, and I try to get as much stats as possible from the cavalry tree. On the conquering part is very important. Entrenched, increased damage dealt to Garrison by 3%, and damage taken from Garrison is reduced by 3%. So Entrenched is a very good addition to your rally. Moment of Triumph is also very good because you have a rally. It's probably going to be 1.2 million. You're free to play, so you're probably not going to have a very huge rally, but as I said, 1.2 million, 1.3 million, 1.1 million, it's going to take a while until your rally is going to go until 90%, maybe 10, 15, 20 seconds or something like that. In all that time, you're going to have all damage increased for 9%, so there's nothing wrong with that. So again, Babers primary and Osman secondary. So this is going to be your third nuking build. I'm going to tell you two more additional builds for this particular video, which is going to include Osman and Scipio, because most of you players are actually having Scipio maxed out, and you probably want to know where you can use him, how you can use him, even though I don't recommend it so much. But if you actually want to use him, you can. It's not optimal to use him, because specialization commanders always win, and specific type of troops is the best option you can go with. So this is why I started with these three builds, and this is why I showed you the talent tree for these three builds. So this should be the three prime builds if you're planning to rally something as a free-to-play. And obviously your highest research should be infantry if you're going with Sanzu and Aulji. Your highest research should be on archers if you're going with Herman and Osman, and your highest research should be cavalry if you're going with Babers and Osman. I also forgot to mention that because he's a conquering, when attacking cities, normal attack have a 100% chance to decrease garrison attack and defense. So you're debuffing the garrison automatically with Babers just because he has this conquering plan. So it's actually gonna help you a lot when you're hitting cities or when you're hitting all the objectives. Then again, Osman has increasing attack on all your troops for another 120 seconds after you spend at least 30 seconds on hitting the cities. But these are city specific, so it might be just rare occasion when you're going to use them. But these builds, they are made for rallying objectives. So either it's going to be a city, flag, pass, or whatever objectives you need to rally with. If it's going to be barbarian, they're slightly different. I can make another video for that separately if you're interested in rallying barbarian objectives, like even in the Lost Kingdom. I can make a separate video for that. I don't want to make this video very long. So again, two more builds, and that would be with Osman or with Scipio if they're going to be primary. Now, if you want to launch mix rally, if your alliance cannot coordinate and people are just sending whichever troops to your rally, they just can't understand that specific rally, and you're out of options. You need to send mix of rally. You have two options. One of them would be with Osman primary, but again, I wouldn't suggest this to be the tanking rally. This is the field battles talent build that I have for Osman, and I have done a rally specific. Now this is a rally specific build for Osman primary and Ethelflaed secondary. So this is the moment what I would actually use as a free-to-play Ethelflaed. That would be with Osman primary and Ethelflaed secondary. At some point, Ethelflaed will be maxed out in skills, and that will help you tremendously a lot, especially if you're going to do mix of troops. Now you're noticing that you have armor, that means all damage is increased by 3% when you have mix of troops. Obviously you're going to use Osman because you have to do mix of troops, because your alliance cannot coordinate for doing specific rallies. And you have the full skill because you need as much rage generation as possible. You also have the conquering, you have entrench, so you're in really good shape. You use Osman primary and you use Ethelflaed secondary. Using Ethelflaed as secondary is not just gonna grant you extra damage when you're having 3 type of troops, but your rally capacity is also increased by 10%. So let's say if you have a 1.2 million rally with a maxed out Ethelflaed, or when this skill is maxed out, you'll have 1.32 million rally, 1,320,000 rally, because it's an additional 10%. So there's nothing bad. Plus you're going to debuff the target. Ethelflaed also has a direct damage factor, so Osman is just going to boost Ethelflaed direct damage factor, so there's nothing wrong in using them both together. The second build is going to be with Scipio, because all of you have Scipio and you actually want to use him or need to use him. The reason I would only use Scipio would be for tanking and with mix of troops. It's not advisable, because that's why I started with Sansu and EUG primary, I mean being the first build that I'm talking about. But if you actually need to rally on objectives and you must use Scipio because you don't have any other option, then you can use Scipio primary, and I have also done a talent build for it. I think is this one. Yes, my Scipio is level 55. Okay, so no, it's 54. It's 54. I'm sorry. So my Scipio is level 54. Now there is 6 more talents that you can put on Scipio, and that goes on health and armored, because you're gonna do mix of troops rally for the purpose of tanking. That's gonna be your purpose for using Scipio if you're gonna rally on objective, just for tanking damage, because Scipio doesn't do any damage, nothing else he can do. So you're gonna use mix of troops and you're just gonna tank. That means that you're also gonna need other nuking rallies with preferably specific troops to hit the same objectives, because otherwise you're just gonna have a lot of dead troops or dead and severely wounded all together, and you're not gonna be so impactful whoever you're attacking if you're gonna use Scipio primary. So this is the talent build that I would use for Scipio. Again, because my Scipio is 54, there is 6 more talent points that you can use, and that would be on health and armored. You'll notice because he's tanking, he also has strategic prowess, he also has armored, a little bit of damage. It doesn't hurt, it's all damage. And a second in command to Scipio, I would put again Ethelflaed. You can only launch 1 rally at a time, so if you're wondering why I'm making combinations using the same commanders, that's because you can only launch 1 rally at a time. You cannot launch 3 rallies, you cannot launch 2 rallies, you can only launch 1 rally. So whichever pair you choose, it can only go once. And a second in command to Scipio, I would use again Ethelflaed, because the amount of bonuses you get for having mix of troops and the amount of bonuses that Ethelflaed can give you for a mix of troops rally is just too good. You're also debuffing the target, has a direct damage factor and a little bit of defense by reducing the counter-attack damage reduction. So for free-to-play, Aethelflaed is a really great commander for mix of troops. So these are the 5 marches that I would advise you as free-to-play if you have to rally objectives or if you actually have to rally something. But again, don't put so much hope in just one rally. Try to do 2 rallies, 3 rallies. Now, how you're gonna synchronize a multiple rally hit on the same objective? Well, obviously, one alliance on one objective can only launch 1 rallies, so obviously you need multiple alliances. Now, the best way you can coordinate to launch the rallies and coordinate them to go almost in the same time is the following steps that you need to take. First, you can check the rally time. So whenever you click on a target and you press rally, it shows you the march time of the rally. That's something that you need to write down or just write it somewhere. 2, after you launch the rally, make sure that someone joins the rally with 1 siege from about 40 minutes away. Just give it 40 minutes, something very, very far away, with just 1 siege, a very slow march. 3, make sure that the infantry rally will launch first. Now, how are you gonna do that? Once the rallies are filled up and all the troops that have marched to the rally and the rally is filled up, you just have 1 guy marching in all the rallies, which is the siege that is marching from very far away. The moment you are ready, you're gonna release the infantry. You're just gonna kick that 1 person. That means that the infantry rally is gonna launch. Then you have the times of the other rallies and you can approximately synchronize. Don't wait until the infantry is gonna hit. Don't let them get demolished. That moment you're gonna release the other 1, 2, 3, 4, whichever, how many rallies you're gonna release, and they're gonna hit the target as well, and that's gonna be very, very impactful on whoever you're gonna hit. So that way you can even take well, as free-to-play or as free-to-play players from your kingdom, you can just eliminate him out. Obviously, again, if you have legendaries, things can change a little bit because they are much more impactful, they offer more bonuses to the troops, and they have more damage. Now this is for purely free-to-play players and about epic commanders. Right, so I hope you guys gonna find this video helpful or interesting for my lovely free-to-play players. Until next time, this is your boy Legend Ronnie signing off. Peace out, yo, and take care.